Hi guys, Bokecrochet here. Today I'm working on how to finish the edges of the bag, and as you can see the bag is almost done, and this is called a samawati bag, and it's a very small crossbody bag. So I'm just trying to show you the technique that I use to finish up my edges of the bag. So since with this technique you're going to use two strands of colors, and right now I'm using the blue color and the yellow color. So you just go ahead and drop one color, and the color that you want to drop, you drop it to the front side of your project as such. Okay, and the color that you're going to work on, you just go ahead and continue to work with one strand of color. Okay, but do not cut off this yarn. So you just drop it off and then you leave it intact, and you work to the back loop with the other strand of color, as you can see. So just go ahead, slip stitch to the back loop, and once you're doing that, do not skip any stitches. And one thing I would like to point out, the slip stitch tends to pull out stitches a little bit too tight, so make sure you adjust your tension accordingly. Or if you cannot be able to adjust your tension, all you need, instead of using like the hook that you've been working on, it's okay to use any gauge between, let's say, 4.5 all the way to 5 millimeters. It's okay, so that it's easy for you to adjust your gauge. So personally, I can easily adjust my tension, so I do not have that problem. But if you are a beginner or you are not a skilled crocheter, so it's not easy for you to easily adjust your stitch when you're doing a slip stitch. So just go ahead and slip stitch to the back loop only until the end of the round, or actually do these 5 rounds, and then on the 6th round I'll come back and show you what I'm going to do. So I see you at the end of the round. Here, as you can see, now I've done my 5 rounds of slip stitch, and as you can see the inside, that's how it looks like right there, and this is how it looks the outside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold the slip stitch part, and I'm going to fold it all the way around. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, this yarn, you still leave it intact, you do not use it. Just go ahead and slip stitch the back loop of the last round to the front loop of the last round. See this round right here, the one that was the last round of the bag, the one that was left undone, that one, that's the one you go ahead and slip stitch into. So the first stitch, just go ahead, what I'll do on the first stitch, I usually just pull it down like that, so it's easy for me to work on the 2 sides. So now what you need to do, you slip stitch the front loop, see that front loop, to the back loop. You slip stitch these 2 loops together, and make sure you don't make them too tight. It's just good enough tension. Don't make them too tight or too loose. So because every other color is, every other stitch at the bottom here is yellow, so over here we're going to have some kind of yellow showing up right here. But if you don't want this yellow to show up, so make sure when you finish your last round at the bottom of the bag before you do the brim, you can work one round of the same color. So that's how you're gonna do it if you don't want it showing. But for now, in every other stitch, I'm gonna have a different color. So you slip stitch like that all the way to the end of round, and when you do that kind of slip stitch, when you do this, you make a very nice edge of the bag, and that edge of the bag, it can also be a drawstring. So if you need a drawstring for your garments or anything else, so this is how you can do it too. So I usually use this technique to fold the edge, to make the edges. Okay, as you can see, so that's how it's going to look like. That's how the bag looks like. So just go ahead and work it like that all the way to the end of round. Then when you come back, I'm gonna show you what to do next. Okay guys, I'm close to the end of the round, but I just needed to point out one thing before I finish up. So as you can see, I did all the edging across the round. So now what you need to do, okay, before I move on to the end, I'm gonna point out one thing. The thing that I'm gonna point out is, like, if you want to make a drawstring and you need to leave a hole, this is how you work it. You work all the way close to the end, or however number of stitches you want to leave, but here I left like 2 stitches. So as you can see here, this is a hole right here, and you can put in your strings. If you want to put a drawstring, you can put a string to this side and all the way, and then it's gonna come right out here. So that's how you make your drawstrings. Okay, so if you want to make a drawstring of something, okay, all right. So, and if I need a drawstring, this is what I need to do. I'll show you what I do if I need a drawstring and I need to make it clean and neat. So what you need to do, I took out one stitch right here. If you make a drawstring, what you need to do here, you just go ahead and crochet around the hole like that. If you want to be dramatic, you can make it a different color, but I chose to use one color that it looks the same as the one that I finish up with. So you can do that. And then what you need to do now, you see these stitches down here, you work them too, so to make your hole to look clean and neat. So because I always like my work neat, so what you need to do, you go ahead and crochet right there. Oops. Right there, and then you do it on the last stitch right there, and then you can finish it up right here. Okay, that is if you want to make the whole look neat and doesn't fray out the other part of your work. So it's gonna be tiny, but here it's visible. Look at it right here. And if this is too tight, all you need to do is make more rounds of the slip stitch, so to make it a little bit wider. But because I wasn't intending to use the drawstring, I just wanted to show you. So this is just for demonstration purposes. That's why it's a little bit too tight. But hey, you can see that's the drawstring you can put over there, and you can put it over there, and then after that you can fasten off this one and cut it off. Okay, so that's how you make a drawstring hole. But I don't need it on this project, and I'm going to just take it out. So that's a technique that I'm showing you. Okay, and the details of this technique, I'm going to demonstrate it and do it, the illustration of it on my website, Bokecrochet. So but it's not now. I'm gonna put it, so if you want to be notified, just let me know and I will go ahead, and once I upload it, I'll let you know. Okay, so, and this is the last stitch you work on as such, and that's the end of the round. If your stitches do not match, then it means you skipped a stitch or two somewhere. Otherwise, when you are folding your work, the fold and the other part of it, the bottom fold and the top fold, should match, and the stitches should be well aligned. If you're missing some stitches or one of them becomes longer than the other one, then it means you skipped either one stitches, two stitches, depending on the number of stitches that are missing. Okay, so now you can fasten off this one. What I usually do, I just go ahead and do it like that, just to be extra cautious as such. And as always, when I cut my yarn, I do not cut it all the way up here. I leave about maybe 5 inches of tail. I always leave a tail. Okay, so now this is done, and now I'm going to pick up my other color, which is the yellow color. And what happens with the yellow color, what I'm going to do, I'm going to work with it to the opposite side. Let me also go ahead and fasten it in this loop, so it's well secured. Just bear with me a minute. I will also go ahead and loop it in here. So it's all well fastened and it doesn't give me too much of the knots. I do not like to have too much knots on my work. Okay, and this loop here, this is where I'm going to go ahead. I put this one to the back. I don't want it being at the top because I want my work looking neat. So with this color, you need to work anti-clockwise, and I will show you why you need to work anti-clockwise. Because on anti-clockwise, we're going to work on this, on the back loop right here, on this back loop that we just finished working on right here. That's the one we're going to work on. And the reason why I want this color to go to the inside, if I work on it to the clockwise direction, the yellow color is going to be showing at the top, and it's going to make another yellow color, like a burst of a yellow color, and that's not the kind of texture I want with this particular purse. However, if you want that type of a texture, that's fine, you can definitely work with it. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate what I mean by saying that. Let's see. So this is working on the clockwise direction. So if you want to work on the clockwise direction, see, the yarn is not on the right, because I was going to work on the anti-clockwise direction, so that's why. But now we may have a little bit of a knotting going on here. So if you work on the outer loop, you will still have that kind of bursting here, and even if you work on this side also, you will have kind of a bursting too, a bursting stitch right there, you see. So as you can see, that's what I'm talking about, and I do not want that kind of stitch, you see that showing up there. So I do not want that showing up there again. So that's the reason why I just work, that's the only reason why I'm working anti-clockwise. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate a little bit longer so you guys can have an idea what I'm talking about. And sometimes these stitches may be hard to dig out, so you can use a smaller needle to dig them out if you need the need be. So you see, as such, so this texture, I do not want that kind of a texture right now, because this, you see, it looks like a bursting stitch up here. I do not want that, so that's why I'm working on anti-clockwise. Otherwise there is no reason for me to, for not working anti-clockwise. That's the only reason. But if you want to give your work some character, yes, you can do that too. So if you want to give it some character, you can do that. But for now, I just want it a little bit without too much character, because there's too much going down here. So I don't want, again, too much stuff going up here. So I just want to minimize that. So just go ahead and work on anti-clockwise direction. Make sure the color that you've been working with, you drop it, and you drop it now to the back, okay, because I'm not going to use it. So this is gonna be a tail. So with this one now, what you need to do, you work on the back loop. You work on the back loop, and the reason why I want to work on the back loop, I don't want to work on the front loop, I just want to work on the back loop. I want this color to be all the way to the back, as such. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing. And now you work anti-clockwise to the back loop to the end of the round with the alternative color. See, so go ahead and work like that all the way to the end of round, and then when you come back, we're gonna see how the project ended up looking like. Okay, so I see you at the end of this round. So here I am, I'm done with the round, and that's how the project looks like. And as you can see, it looks very nice, well done and neatly finished. So there is other thing that I would like to point out, but for now, for this bag, because it's a very small bag, I do not want to overwhelm it with a lot of stuff or a lot of stuff going up here. So I'll show you what to do for this bag. But for the purpose of my other garments, there is one or two things I'd like to point out. So if you continue working now on clockwise direction, you will get a stitch that looks like this. Let me show you just for demonstration purposes. You will get a stitch that looks like that. See, it will make this stitch a little bit longer. If you want it that way, just go ahead and do it all around the project. But for me, I do not want that. This is too much for this bag. So, but in my other project, I do have that, especially my garments. I make that one. But there is also this one. If you need to have it a little bit character to it, what I usually do, you go ahead and at the end of the round, you go ahead, you slip stitch this loop right here, you slip stitch it as such, and then what you need to do, you work on anti-clockwise again. So after the first round that you worked on anti-clockwise, you again now go ahead and work it on anti-clockwise. This will give you a little bit of characteristics of your project. So this yarn, I don't know, I don't have a better way of working this side, like especially when I'm working on anti-clockwise. I haven't figured out the best way to have this yarn, so I usually just go ahead and slide it to the other side. So you work on anti-clockwise to have the purls. So you will have the purls on this edging side like that. So your project will look like that, and I like this better. See, I like that better. So in most of my project I will have that, especially my garments. So when I'm finishing out making the edges, either at the legs, arms, maybe on the front panels, I usually do that, so to make it look so nice and pretty. So just go ahead and work on anti-clockwise again. At this time you work on the front lobe. You work on the front lobe. See, that's how it looks like. So what happens here, the characteristics of this part up here and the bottom part, they are consistent and they look the same. But if you worked on clockwise direction, the consistency of this stripe right here, the blue one and the yellow one, will not be consistent. So it will give it a little bit of different texture. So go ahead and work to the end of the round, and then when you come back, I'll show you what to do next. And here the bag is done. As you can see, it looks so nice and pretty, and it's all well finished. But to me, I will still consider this undone. So there's still 2 more steps that I need to work on before I consider this bag done, especially when it comes to this edging. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a crab stitch. I'm going to make a crab stitch, that is reverse single crochet. So I'm going to, the way I work my reverse single crochet, it may be a little bit different. So what I usually do, I work it like this. Let me see. Actually, it's gonna make it too thick, so I'm just gonna take out that stitch right there. So what I'm going to do, I will work it like this. So what I'm going to do, I work my reverse single crochet like that. I work it that way. I don't know how you guys work yours, but this is how I work mine. Maybe it's the same way you work yours too, so I don't know. So leave me a comment down below if that's how you guys work your crab stitch too. So, and over here there is no rule that applies here. You can use the other color too if you wish, but I prefer to use the yellow color for now. I may change it if need be, if I see it's too much of the yellow, so I can change it and do the other color, but for now I'm going to do the yellow. And you make sure like all your stitches are very clean, and I usually make sure like I pull it a little bit tight so I don't leave it too loose, because either way it's gonna look a little bit big. So I don't know why my stitches feel so tight. As you can see, I go ahead, insert hook right there, and I yarn under. I don't yarn over. So I think that's where the difference is, but I'm not sure. So just let me know how you guys do yours. So I think that's the difference. Some people yarn over, but I always yarn under. See, insert hook into the 2 loops. I go ahead, yarn under and pull through the 2 loops, and I yarn over, pull through the 2 loops to finish up the stitching. So I don't know, maybe that's how you guys do yours too, but mine I'm always yarning under. So I'm thinking that may be the difference, but hey, who knows? Just leave a comment down below and let me know. So you're going to work on the crab stitch all the way to the end of the round. So go ahead and do it, and then I'll meet you at the end of the round. The bag is all done and it looks nice and pretty. See? So now what I'm gonna show you is how to finish it up and cut off I already cut off the yarn, and just go ahead and get your needle. I like to use this kind because it doesn't have a thick eye, and that's why I like to use this one, so it can go through my stitches easily. All right, so what you need to do, just make sure the yarn that you've been working with, it goes to the back of your work. I'm just gonna go ahead and sew a little bit like that, and then this yarn I'm gonna carry it to the wrong side. I do not want it on the right side, so what I'm going to do, I just go ahead, push it in here, like sew it through this work right here, and then all the way down here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and push it right out where the other yellow color is. See where the yellow color is? So just gonna go ahead and pull it on the wrong side, and then I will do that for the other color too. I just go ahead, get in, make sure I pass through this other work so it doesn't pull on it so hard, and then make sure it gets to the blue color too, so as such. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and secure it on this stitch one more time, and then that's where I'm gonna leave them for now. So I'm gonna get the yellow color too, like I'm gonna work with the yellow color up here. Once I'm done, I'm gonna pull it also to this side, and then these three strands of colors, no, these three strands, so I'm gonna work with them. I usually make something very nice on the inside, and I'll show you later, or I'll do a video tutorial about what I do with these strands of colors on my most of my projects. Usually I leave them here to mark as the end of my project or at the beginning of my project, but the one at the end, I usually do something else with them. So I'll show you in a different tutorial what I do with them. So as you can see, for now we can leave our bag as such, or we can continue to do something else. To me, this looks a little bit okay, but it's not really perfect, so I'm gonna do one more something to it to make it more perfect. So what I'm gonna show you next, and this also will apply to my other work, and I will be referring to this video. What I'm going to do, I'm going to work at the top of these pearls. Right now, after I fold them, you see they look like the knit pearls, so this one I call them crochet pearls for the purpose of descriptions. So what I'm going to do, I will get an alternate color to this top color and figure out where the center loops are. In this case, the center loop is right here. See, right here. And these pearls, each of them has a loop. As you can see, that's one loop right there. So the second loop is right there. The third loop is right there. So as you can see, they all have loops that goes across. So you're gonna work on every single one of those loops. But there is also one thing I need to point out. If you want the blue color to be a little bit thicker, like you see this band or this fold right here, if you want it a little bit thicker, so you make sure you work on the back side so that you can have 3/4 of this and a little bit of a quarter on the inside. But if you want it half, you have to work it at the center up here. So for now, the inside I'm going to have a lining, so I do not need any of this band, too much of it on the inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work at least 3/4 of it has to be to the outside, so it can give it a good look on the outside. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch. I'm going also to leave again a tail. I will slip stitch right there. I will first of all secure my yarn right there, and I will leave enough tail. As such. And work on the clockwise. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to slip stitch in each and every loop. So you can slip stitch, or you can single crochet, or you can extend single crochet. You can do another stitches on top of it. So you're going to work on top of this. And right now I'm working on the 3/4 line. So this is the line, see, between the two loops right here. So you just work in between and make sure you don't skip any stitch, because every stitch is counted. If you skip, it's gonna make your work a little bit shrink. So you work on every single loop, on every single purl loop. I call it crochet purl loop. So you work on every single one of them as such. To the end of the round. See? This technique is also described on my website. You can go ahead and check it out. And I use this technique on one of my design, which has a pattern on my Ravelry store. The name of the bag is Uziomic, and I would put the link down below. So as you can see, that's how you're gonna work all the way to the end of the round. Once you get to the end of the round, you can come back and then we'll see how it looks and what we're gonna do next. I'll see you then. After adding this line up here, I can consider my project done, but I would like to do a little bit more to it before I consider it completely done. So this is the second last stitch. As you can see, it may be a little bit slightly off the center line, and that's okay. And it's because the rounds, once you go to the next round, they tend to change the tracks. So it's a little bit off, a little bit, not too much, but that's okay and that's normal. So what you need to do, you just go ahead and make sure you work to the last stitch as such, and you don't leave any loop. So you just make sure you check to make sure this is so. On this loop, just go ahead and slip stitch one like that, right? Okay, now we're not going to work on anti-clockwise like we did at the bottom here. So what we need to do here, because we're working on the same color, so that's fine. As you can see, it doesn't have those it doesn't have any of those basting stitches, so it's perfectly fine. So now we can work on the back loop. on a clockwise direction. So we can work on the back loop. All the way to the end of the round, and let's make at least 3 rounds of the back loop slip stitch. If you wish, you can make more, but for me, I'm gonna make 3 rounds for now and see how it looks like before I decide if I'm gonna add one more or not. Right, so work as such all the way, and then I'll meet you at the end of the 3rd round. Right, at the end of the 3rd round, your project, it looks like that. And if you want to leave your back like that, that's fine. And now you should stop right here because it looks perfect to me. But to me, I still think I need to fold these top stitches right here. So I don't have enough stitches up here yet. So I think I'm gonna add one more round because 3 rounds are not enough. I'm gonna add one more round and then I'll go ahead and fold it. So let me go ahead and do one more round and see how big it is. So stay tuned and see you then. I think the 4 rounds are enough because I don't want it to be as thick as this one. I want it to be so skinny and very thin, so can give it a little bit of tension. All right, so that's what I'm working right now. So what I'm going to do next is go ahead and create the fold, and now you slip stitch the front loop to the back loop, so the 2 loops are slip stitched together, and this is the same as what we did down below. So what you need to do, make sure all your stitches are very nice, well aligned and everything, because this is our final round and they shouldn't be anything crooked because we're not going to work on this side again. So this will be the end of it. So go ahead and slip stitch the 2 loops together to the end of the round, and then when we come back, we'll see how our bag looks like. And this is the end of the video. So I've finished the bag. I've fastened it off, so I'm just going to cut the yarn and pull this yarn to the inner part of it as this one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull them all, 4 of them, to the inside part of the bag, and then in the next video I will show you the kind of handle I'm gonna put on and what I'm going to do with this. And in another video I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these yarns. Okay, so for now that's the end of my video tutorial, and if you have watched the entire thing, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and turn on the notification bell for new contents. Okay, for any picture illustrations, I will recommend you to check out my website, Bokecrochet, so you will see the kind of techniques that I have there for the illustrated techniques and any designing process that I use and any new pattern releases. Okay, for any questions or interactions, just go ahead and check me on my social medias, Bokecrochet. Until next time, have a good day, good night, whatever you are in the world. Checking out.